What if I told you that Barcelona once had the most talented squad in football history, and they almost self-destructed because the players literally hated each other? What if the same team that gave us the greatest El Clasico performances ever recorded was also on the verge of complete collapse behind the scenes? This is the insane story of how Barcelona's 2009-10 season, which should have been legendary, instead became the most toxic, dramatic, and embarrassing chapter in their modern history. And it all started with one man's ego getting completely out of control. The setup for greatness. Picture this. It's 2009. Barcelona has just achieved the impossible, a historic treble under rookie manager Pep Guardiola. They didn't just win, they revolutionized football itself. Messi was entering his prime. Xavi and Iniesta were orchestrating symphonies on the pitch. The team was playing the most beautiful football the world had ever seen. Then, 2011 happened. Another Champions League trophy, humiliating Manchester United at Wembley, cementing their place as possibly the greatest team in football history. But here's the crazy part. Sandwiched between these two masterpieces was the 2009-10 season. On paper, it should have been their greatest year yet. They had added even more talent. The system was perfected. Everything was in place for back-to-back Champions League glory. Instead, what happened was a complete disaster that nearly tore the club apart from the inside. And it all centered around one of the most controversial signings in Barcelona history. The transfer that changed everything. Summer 2009. Barcelona makes a move that shocks the football world. They don't just sign any player. They go for the most expensive, most controversial, most ego-driven superstar available. Zlatan Ibrahimović. 69 million euros plus Samuel Eto'o. At the time, it was astronomical money for a player who was brilliant, but came with a reputation for causing locker room chaos wherever he went. But here's where it gets interesting. Pep Guardiola personally requested this signing. He believed he could tame Zlatan's ego and integrate him into Barcelona's philosophy. He was wrong. So wrong. From day one, Zlatan clashed with everything Barcelona represented. The team played intricate passing football. Zlatan wanted to be the main character. The team pressed collectively. Zlatan walked around like he was above the system. But the real problem wasn't tactical. It was personal. Zlatan couldn't stand that a 22-year-old Lionel Messi was the undisputed king of the team. In training, he would openly mock the passing sequences. In interviews, he would make passive-aggressive comments about certain players getting preferential treatment. The locker room split into camps. You were either Team Messi or Team Zlatan. There was no middle ground. When everything fell apart. By January 2010, the situation had become unbearable. Players were reporting that training sessions felt like walking on eggshells. Veterans like Xavi and Puyol were trying to hold the team together, but the damage was spreading. It was affecting their performance on the pitch. Sure, they were still winning games. This was Barcelona after all, but anyone watching could see the magic was gone. Players were hesitating to make passes to certain teammates. Then came the moment that exposed everything, the Champions League semi-final against Inter Milan. This should have been routine for Barcelona. They had better players in every position. But Jose Mourinho, the master of psychological warfare, had been watching their internal chaos all season. Inter didn't just beat Barcelona, they embarrassed them, and not because of superior tactics or better players. They won because Barcelona's players were so focused on their internal drama that they forgot how to play as a team. Zlatan was practically invisible in both legs. Messi looked isolated and frustrated. The passing that had mesmerized the world just 1 year earlier now looked disjointed and panicked. After the elimination, Pep Guardiola reportedly didn't speak to Zlatan for 3 days. The explosive aftermath. The summer of 2010 became one of the most dramatic transfer windows in football history. Zlatan was shipped off to AC Milan after just 1 season, 69 million euros down the drain. But here's the crazy part. Even after he left, he couldn't stop talking about Barcelona. In his autobiography, Zlatan unleashed absolute chaos. He called Pep Guardiola a coward and the most immature coach I've ever had. He claimed Messi had too much influence over team decisions. Zlatan claimed that Pep had promised him he would be the main star, then completely changed his mind once the season started. Pep, for his part, rarely responded publicly. But years later, he would admit that the Zlatan signing was his biggest mistake at Barcelona. The damage was done. What should have been Barcelona's greatest dynasty instead became a cautionary tale about ego, chemistry, and how the wrong personality can poison even the most talented group. The what-if that haunts history. Here's the part that will blow your mind. If Barcelona had just kept Samuel Eto'o instead of trading him for Zlatan, they probably would have won that 2010 Champions League. Think about it. Eto'o was the perfect fit for their system. He pressed from the front, linked up beautifully with Messi, and never caused locker room drama. Plus, he went on to win the Champions League with Inter Milan that very same year, the team that knocked out Barcelona. Barcelona could have been the first team in history to win 3 consecutive Champions League titles. They could have established a dynasty that would have redefined football greatness. Instead, that honor went to their biggest rivals, Real Madrid, who won 3 in a row from 2016 to 2018. All because of one disastrous signing that prioritized individual talent over team chemistry. The legacy lesson. The 2009-10 Barcelona season teaches us the most important lesson in sports. Talent without chemistry is worthless. You can have the best players, the best coach, and the best system in the world. But if your locker room is toxic, if egos are out of control, if players are more focused on individual glory than collective success, you'll fail when it matters most. Barcelona learned this lesson the hard way. They sacrificed potential greatness for one season of drama. And Real Madrid fans will never let them forget it. Sometimes the most talented teams write the most disappointing chapters. This was Barcelona's.